Hey everybody, I'm here right now to show you the technique that I use to convert color images into black and white. Many of my friends and colleagues have asked me how do I convert my color images into black and white and manage to get this rich dramatic look on my black and white images. So that's exactly what I'm going to do now. I'm going to show you guys how to get a really cool looking, dramatic and compelling black and white image from a color image. Now this is one such black and white image that I had generated from a color image. Now what we're going to do is we are going to take a color image, which is this one. Yeah, that is a pretty dramatic image already. Now as you could make out, that is an HDR, which is generated from 3 exposures using the software Photomatix. To know how to find out how to generate an HDR image using Photomatix, you can always just do a Google, and there are like tons of tutorials online for you to figure that out. I'm not going into that now. So this image is an HDR, and what we are going to do is go to image adjustments and black and white. Now here you get control over the different color tones in your image. I'm going to the reds, and what happens if I just pull it up? It becomes more bright. Pull it down. Well, it depends on how much red is there in the current picture. Now in the picture, in this area where you see more bright actually is red, so that's why it's becoming more bright as I'm moving the reds to the brighter side. I decide to keep it at 172. Now coming to the next color, that is yellows, if I crank it up, it becomes really bright at the bottom, which I don't want, like, you know, this area. So I'm just leaving it where it was, and maybe pull down the red a little bit more. Yeah, that looks good. And the greens, not much of a difference, but yeah, if I pull it all the way down, it becomes too dark. So I'm leaving it at 148. That looks good. Cyan is bluish, so when I bring it down, you can quite clearly see the sky becoming darker. If I pull it really down, you start getting these weird pixelation, which I don't want, so I move it up and I leave it just about there, 23%. Now yeah, this varies from image to image. What I'm trying to explain here is that what you really need to do is play with the different color tones over here to get the desired amount of lightness and darkness in your black and white image. Coming to the blues, just pulling it down. Yes, now that is what I want. I want a really dark tinge to the sky. That looks good. That looks exactly like what I want. I'm not gonna touch the magentas because it would rarely make any sense. My friend just logged in here, and I am just closing my MSN. Sorry about that. Yeah, so coming back to our tutorial, yeah, the first step is more or less done. If you want, you can make it a little more darker. I generally like dark shades a lot, so I would keep it a little dark. Click OK. There. So what has happened? You have got the black and white image, but it's not yet quite there. So what am I going to do next? First of all, it's better to do this on a layer above the original picture so that you always have the original picture underneath. But since I have not done that, I will do a shortcut. I would select all, which is Control A, and Control C, which would copy this, and then I would press Control Alt Z 2 times so that I come back to where I started, and I Control V. I paste my image right on top. So there is the color image and there is the black and white image. Okay, so what am I going to do next? I am going to select the burn tool and make it to the desired size that I want. That looks good. And I'm going to make the exposure to 45, yeah, and the range would be midtones, and I am going to burn the midtones. There you can see more texture coming out from the clouds, and I am also running it around the sky to make the sky more dark. And also the hills are a little too white, which is not to my taste, so I would prefer burning them up a little bit and bring their tone down to a darkish shade. And this same thing can be applied to the clouds in the other areas which you don't want to be so excessively bright. That looks good. Now the opposite can be done by getting the dodge tool, which would make things appear lighter. Like if I run it over here, you see the sky becoming lighter. Now that's not what I want to do, so I just leave it there. But I want some of the area over here to add some contrast, and I want it to be a little more bright so that it adds to the contrast of the image. The overall contrast becomes a little more dramatic. There you see, that did make a difference, didn't it? Yes. So that's it, guys. That's how I make my black and white images. Now I did this real quick. I usually take a lot of time to arrive at something like this, which which takes about, maybe, it depends on my mood. Sometimes I do it in 15 minutes, sometimes I take an hour and 15 minutes. Now just a couple more things, just to let you know that that's not the end of it. If you want, you can take it a step further by going to the adjustment layers and selecting curves and pulling the curves down a little bit, and there you can see it becomes a little more dark. And if you don't want the darkness to be applied all over the picture, just make sure that your curves is selected. Go select a brush and make sure that it's black. Take it to your desired size and just run the brush over, and what you can see is that it's masking out. So you get some areas dark and others not so dark, and I don't like what I did just now. I just bring it back, and yeah, so yes, I like this much better than before. Like I would just turn on the curves to make you so that you can see the previous version. I really like the new version much better than the previous version, and that's just about it. So we have successfully converted this to this to this, and yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you have a great time trying this out with the photographs that you take. Just a couple of suggestions, like you can make out already, you need a really cloudy day for this kind of stuff, and make sure that you take about 3 exposures, and when you come back, try to make them into an HDR and then do this. You can also do the same thing from a raw file, which I would be covering in another tutorial, but for now it's bye byes from me, and guys, take care and have fun. Bye bye.